The number of black police officers is falling nationwide. But why? That's the question our next guest explores in a new piece for The Atlantic. The answers he found may surprise you. David Graham wrote the opinion piece, and he is a staff writer at The Atlantic. So, David, I read your piece, and I found it very interesting, and then I kind of was trying to do some background reading on it. And what I found was this issue has been lingering for a while. I would look up articles, and they'd be from 2014 and 2006, and I thought we're doing a lot of talking, but we're not doing a lot of changing. How much of a decline are we talking about here? What do the numbers look like?
So we're seeing drops, double-digit declines in some major departments, sometimes as much as 25%. So pretty serious drops in some of these big departments.
So let's talk about the high-profile killings of African Americans by police over the last couple of years that have sort of bubbled up to the surface. What kind of effect has that had on police efforts to recruit black officers to the force?
Anecdotally, it's a big problem. So one of the big problems that we see now is a lot of officers who were recruited in the 90s are retiring. They're just reaching natural retirement age. And even though getting enough black officers on forces has long been a real problem, a lot of departments made big strides to catch up in the 90s. Those people are now retiring, and they can't recruit more because of this political environment. So part of it is people just don't want to be police officers. Part of it is, community pressure. It's just not a job that people want to be a part of, or they're worried that it's just not, palatable. And I think that makes it very hard to get new officers in. A lot of black officers I talked to said there's a sort of feeling sometimes of feeling tokenized or feeling like a shield, and folks don't want to be in that position. They don't want to be sort of the front line and hauled up just as an example or a token.
Yeah, we heard a lot of officers, white and black and other, complain that they felt sort of unappreciated within, this environment over the last year and a half or so, where there's been like a real close look at policing in this country and whether we need to shift or defund or whatever. But also, something that kind of pops up in your piece, you don't go deep into, but it pops up in your piece is, the resistance to tackle white supremacist ideology or individuals within police departments, that it's going to be really hard to attract black officers if they feel like there's institutionalized racism, that individuals who are part of, these groups are being protected within these organizations.
Right. We've not only seen these high-profile killings, but we also know there's lots of presence of sort of extremist groups and white supremacist groups among members of forces. And so it's one thing to try to recruit people, but if you're just looking for numbers and you're not changing the culture of a department, you're not going to be able to retain people, and you're not going to be able to sort of solve these problems. Mm-hmm. So it's deeper than simply trying to get some black officers to apply or trying to recruit young black men and women to join forces.
So some departments are working to make sure their ranks are more diverse. What does having a police force that looks like the community do for a community?
I think it cuts in a lot of ways. A big one is, you want people to sort of feel a sense of legitimacy about the police force. And if they don't see people on the beat who look like them, if they think that the police are just another group, I think it's very hard for them to have legitimacy. You want to be able to speak to communities and meet them where they are. Black officers tend to say that they police differently. One officer said, we go on the force for a different reason. We approach this in a different way, and that's really important to how we speak to communities. And keeping good relationships.
I'm curious about kind of the innovative ways that police departments are looking to beef up their ranks when it comes to black police officers. Lincoln University, a historically black college, just got a lot of attention because they actually opened a police academy at Lincoln University, which I thought was a very interesting way of tackling it. I'm curious about how you feel about that, and what are you seeing in terms of, new ways to get black police officers on the force?
Yeah, I think things like that are really innovative and really important. We see departments doing a lot of things, sort of trying to do outreach, trying to go into schools, go into colleges, go to community centers and tell people we're looking for you in particular. We want people like you on the force. I think the danger is sometimes black officers have felt like they're being, as someone told me, recruited at rather than recruited from. And the other problem is even if you get people into the academy, you have to get them on the force. In New York City, something like 1 out of 9 people who take the test to become officers actually end up on the beat. So if you have a lot of people coming in but not making it all the way through the process, for whatever reason, that doesn't really solve your problem.
Fascinating.
Yeah, you said for whatever
sorry,
reason. And sorry, Vlad, when I read that number in your piece, I was surprised because I thought, like, if you go through the process, I thought that if you went to police academy, it was kind of automatic that you were being hired. But where do these people go?
So there's a lot of steps where people can drop off. They might take the test and not go to the academy. They might take the test, go to the academy, and drop out of the academy. In Chicago, they found this as a perpetual problem. People who applied just end up not making it all the way through the various steps in the process.
All right, David Graham, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.